What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video recap of round 3 of Super Rugby taking place in New Zealand, and another weekend of exciting rugby. But weather conditions definitely affected the game. Tornado apparently in Auckland before the game. Obviously rain affected, but it cleared up, but it still had its hands on the handling errors from both teams, with the Highlanders and the Blues. But then we saw the Crusaders taking on the Chiefs on Sunday, and again, pouring wet conditions, but there were results, and the Blues coming away with their victory, being undefeated in a very closely fought game against a very strong and hard-witted Highlanders team, and the Crusaders beating the Chiefs. Also started off strong, but then the Chiefs came back and fought back, but Will Jordan definitely took the day by scoring 2 tries for the Crusaders and playing some cracking rugby for them. It wasn't the prettiest of matches, but it was a match indeed, and we saw results come about. Richie Mo'unga scoring the first points for the Crusaders in this past weekend's game. They took a good lead, but then the Chiefs fought their way back, but unfortunately not enough in order to take down the Crusaders. I mean, 5 points from this game for the Crusaders and the Chiefs, but it just wasn't enough. The Crusaders showing the experience and determination that they have in order to keep that victory. Sean scoring the only try for the Chiefs in that game in the 64th minute. Damien McKenzie obviously converting that and 2 other penalties to make their 13 points. Richie Mo'unga getting his 3 kicks over, and then obviously Will Jordan scoring his 2 tries to get the points. If we look at the possession-wise, the Chiefs dominated that side, 62% to 38, and 6 in the possession territory, 63 to 37. Defending-wise, Crusaders 89%, getting 189 tackles, 168 of those being successful. The Chiefs only 107 tackles, but 93 of those being successful. So 89% for the Crusaders and 87 for the Chiefs. Lineouts wise, it's pretty solid for the Crusaders, only losing the 1, whereas the Chiefs lost 4. So they'll need to work on that going forward. The Chiefs also lost to scrum, but the Crusaders getting 100%, which is absolutely great for them, and they'll want to keep that up. Discipline a lot less than the previous weekend, 8 penalties apiece. Luckily, no cards affected in this one, but discipline definitely worked. There was a lot of talk of the ref at the breakdown, but as for penalties, a lot less compared to 2020 in the previous one. So they'll be glad about that. But as for meters run, Crusaders ran 291 meters, whereas the Chiefs 304. Kicks from hand 38 to 22 to the Crusaders. 88 passes, 163 passes to the Chiefs, and full-on runs was 77 to the Crusaders and 138 to the Chiefs. Percentage-wise, 60% kicking percentage for the Crusaders, 75 for the Chiefs. So obviously want to work on that to get it closer to the 100% mark. But overall, Crusaders picking up that all-important win, and it's going to be interesting to see how they match up when they play the Blues eventually in a few weeks' time. It's definitely turning out to be an interesting tournament. I feel for the Chiefs. I felt they definitely showed a lot more heart and character in this one, but just not enough for them to pull on the victory. As for the Crusaders, the Blues and the Highlanders, you guys joined me for that live stream. It was an intense game. At the end of it, I couldn't sit because it was so close. At one stage, you think the Highlanders were going to win. One stage, you thought it could have been a draw, and then the Blues snuck it away at the end there, and rightly so. Playing some cracking rugby, 3 to 4 tries. I mean, the tries at the start were exciting, and good tries being scored. Mitch Hunt and Aotearoa Black leading the ways for the point scoring for both teams. 60% for the Blues. They'll want to be working on the kicking percentage. Obviously, with Black having a good record, he did miss the odd one in this past game, but still solid player and rate him highly. Mitch Hunt getting 80% of his kicks. Percentage-wise, it just shows the closeness of this game. 54% of the Blues, 46 to the Highlanders, 52% of the territory to the Blues, 48 to the Highlanders. Extremely, extremely close. Defense-wise, very similar to the Crusaders and the Chiefs game. 124 tackles made, 109 successful for the Blues. The Highlanders, 127 tackles, but 110. So very close in the tackling margins, but percentage-wise very similar to the previous teams. One yellow card in the game to the Blues. Penalties wise, 11 conceded for the Blues. They will want to work on that, and the Highlanders only 6. For me, one thing the Blues really need to take focus on, especially when they play the Crusaders, is the gaps they left. When the Highlanders scored, it was because of like the defense. They left the gaps and they took advantage and scored the tries. They will need to work on that, especially when they take on the Crusaders, because they're a team that can capitalize on that, and they'll need to be alert. Obviously, throughout the game, Caleb Clark getting the first try in the 6th minute, then Dalton getting one in the 23rd and 58th, scoring 2 tries. Rico Ioane scoring one in the 28th, and then obviously Aotearoa Black converting the points. Ash Dixon, Mitch Hunt, and Shannon Frizzle getting their tries for the Highlanders. Both games were intense. Both games were close, and both games obviously had the weather for us to be concerned about. But overall, it was still cracking rugby. The game of the weekend for me, definitely watching the Blues and the Highlanders back and forth, and how it just changed towards the end there, and how the Highlanders came back and showed a lot of strength, but unfortunately for them, not enough to get a win over it. It was close. The try lines were close. There was opportunities for both. I think the Highlanders will be very disappointed that they didn't capitalize on opportunities given to them. I felt it was their game too that they lost. Aaron Smith was very quiet opposed to the first game where he was very outspoken, led from the front, was in every aspect of the game. But I thought Hunt had a solid game. But for me, obviously, the Blues continue their winning streak, but they need to do some work on discipline if they are wanting to beat the Crusaders in the next upcoming games. Highlanders need to work on their handling errors. They knocked the ball on way too many times, and that for me cost them. But overall, interesting games. We got the Blues, we got the Crusaders at the top, leading the table, making it out to be one hell of a tournament. And it's going to be interesting to see how the end result. I think everyone's going Crusaders, but look, anything can happen, and I think we can't write off the Blues just yet. We'll have to wait and see how those games end up. But overall, cracking rugby, and we'll wait and see what happens with the other two teams, or the two teams at the top. See who comes away with the victory in the upcoming weeks. That's going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Blues are off this weekend, so no Blues this weekend, so it's going to be interesting to see how these other two teams do. Does it bye work, or does it give them a little bit too much time? I think it does, because it gives you enough time to analyze your teams, analyze the positions, but we'll wait and see for the results in that one when they obviously come back. But exciting rugby to look forward to coming up in round 4. It's gonna be good. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you real soon for another one. Stay safe and never give up. Cheers.